Introducing our esteemed speaker.
Thank you, Yanni. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you for this opportunity to be here and share the transformation journey that Huhtamaki has started last year. We have celebrated our 100th year anniversary in 2020 and launched 2030 strategy, which introduced a very ambitious growth and competitiveness agenda enabled by sustainability and digitalization. With this launch, we have also started a significant and unprecedented by its scale business transformation program. Now, transformation is in the DNA of Huhtamaki. Throughout our 100-year history, we have evolved from a confectionery business, cosmetics business, pharmaceuticals business, to a packaging company, a global business today, serving some of the most prominent food companies and home and personal care companies around the world. However, this transformation was different from anything we have done or faced before. As we have been going through pandemic, and even before that, the industry that we operate in has been undergoing tremendous changes. We are faced with significant shifts in consumer behaviors. We're faced with shifts in sustainability, both our own personal awareness of the sustainability challenges, but also rapid change of the regulatory landscape. We are faced with shifts in supply chains and also digitalization. All of this naturally have gaining even higher prominence as pandemic broke out last year. So the transformation for us today is not only about defining the business where we want to be and managing our portfolio of businesses, but it's ultimately defining the packaging industry and the packaging business of the future that embraces the shifts and the transformations that we see in the industry around us. For us, this transformation is about doing four things. It's about being very clear in defining our purpose. It's about embedding sustainability in everything we do. And it's about becoming driven by digital technologies and by data, and ultimately innovating for smart packaging, the packaging of the future. So throughout the next 15 minutes, I'd love to take you and share some of the experiences from the early days of this transformation. Defining our purpose. Just to put things in perspective, when we set out on defining our purpose, we were doing this for a business in the industry that's in the spotlight for the impact it has on the planet, the contribution it has for the waste problem and challenges that we see today. It was at a time when public perception was not yet aware or understood the actual benefits and positive contributions of the packaging to our day-to-day life and to our world. And so good purpose and well-defined purpose is something that every company needs to live by, and it's absolutely imperative for a successful strategy. For us, it was more than that. For us, it was giving ourselves a license to both exist and operate in the future. And so as we have started the work on Strategy 2030 by engaging over 200 managers with different seniorities and different parts of the world in Huhtamaki, we have set ourselves on the streets of some of the most dynamic cities. We literally took our strategy drawing boards to the streets of those cities. And I don't mean this just as a figure of speech. We actually did that in reality. And so we've obviously engaged with a lot of the ways how consumers are experiencing packaging, experiencing food, especially in various different cities of the world, to understand where our purpose lies. And what we saw, I think, reinforced a lot of our beliefs. We saw how imperative packaging is to the absolute sustenance, absolute availability of food in the big cities. The other thing we saw, which was really interesting, is also how incredibly intimate packaging is for our day-to-day life. We touch it in different shapes and forms throughout the day without even realizing, and how important role it plays in our culture. As we celebrate with food together with our families, friends, and the loved ones. And that transcends all the cultures, that transcends all the demographics of consumers and all the countries. And so this reinforced our belief that the value of packaging is so much more than the impact that it has on the planet. It is about food availability. It's actually making the food available from the sources where it's produced to the places where it's consumed. It's about food safety and hygiene. It's enabling that life of food on the shelf throughout, some time and actually allowing food affordably to the tables of a lot of the people around the world. Ironically enough, it's also about food waste prevention. About 1/3 of food is wasted today because it does not have the right packaging or the right sort of means of being transported from the sources of production. And that in itself contributes to around 8% of the greenhouse gas emissions. And obviously packaging can prevent this. So for us, the purpose was very, very clear, and the commitment to this very clear. So it's protecting the food, the people, and the planet. And that is the purpose we live by every day, and we embed in the core of everything that we do. Embedding sustainability in everything we do. Obviously, leaving our purpose of protecting the planet, we knew that we had to set our sustainability ambition high. We knew that we had to include it in everything that we do day to day, from how we operate our business to the business and investment decisions that we make. Our way to approach sustainability is based on circularity. It's the end-to-end approach, starting with our own product and what it's made from. And we are absolutely striving to use only renewable sources and recycled sources and substrates as much as we can in all the products that we make. It's about the end of life of our products and taking responsibility for that. So it's not just ensuring that the product is recycled, it's compostable, it's sort of recyclable, compostable, or reusable, but it's actually ensuring that it becomes part of the circular economy as it's being disposed at its end of life. And it's also about ensuring that eventually our operations, our production is carbon neutral. Now, just achieving these targets, just achieving this is a transformation in its own right. And obviously takes incredible commitment from our whole organization. The way we approach this with a very simple principle that rather than driving this top down, we have to engage the business holistically from all the possible levels of the organization. So we do it in the business, with the business, and ultimately for the business. And as part of this, a program of absolute engagement was incredibly critical. So we've engaged with every office, with every site, with every factory in our system around the world to both share the knowledge, reach the same understanding around the targets that we are achieving, and make very tailored, bespoke roadmaps and plans for every single constituent of our organization to get there. It is also about transparency. We track, we measure all of our performance, and we share that with our stakeholders, including investors, on a regular basis. We're not yet where we need to be, where we want to be, by no means. We have a fairly significant journey ahead of us, but we believe that this transparency allows us to understand very specifically where and how we need to improve and address that in a most quick, expedited manner. But it's also about openness. We had to become significantly more open than we have in the past by engaging the whole value chain, by working much more openly and sharing information with our customers, with our suppliers, and even sometimes with our competitors, engaging with the regulators, engaging with the communities. And so this required and still continues to require a shift in how we approach our business and how we approach our life. Becoming driven by digital technologies and data. Now, packaging as an industry is unfortunately behind food industry in digitalization. The reason for this is very simple. I think a lot of our customers have been investing behind digitalization of the consumer interface. That's where a lot of things have been happening in the past, and less so around their suppliers. However, it is changing now, and so digitalization is no longer an option for our industry and for us. It's an absolute must. Now, for a company who operates globally like us, we need to understand and recognize that the actual digitalization needs and priorities are different depending on the region of the world we're in. For example, in China, it's ultimately the place of the absolute digital consumer, and so it's about how do you win in an economy that is driven by digital consumer, where all of the interface is digitalized. In North America, it is about how do we plug in with our customers and gain more share, gain more confidence in their business. In India, it's about how do we beat fierce cost competition. In Europe, it's an absolute must win for digitalization to crack the packaging circularity. So objectives are different, but at the same time for us, the approach is systemic change, driving systemic digitalizations throughout our whole company. And it's business driven, it's business sense driven. Obviously, as we do it, we're looking to digitalize our operations, not for the sake of digitalizing operations, but actually achieving best operational performance, competitiveness. We're looking to become much more easy to do business with by digitalizing our interfaces to the customers, taking on board much more e-commerce. We are also looking to enable with digitalization smart packaging, which we believe is one of the avenues to secure the packaging industry's future. Now, important to note how we approach this. Similar to sustainability, our absolute philosophy is that we do it in the business, with the business, and for the business. And so rather than choosing to do a top-down program, we are investing a lot in building and educating the savviness of our people, of our managers from within the business at all levels, to be able to bring in digitalization, digital tools, programs in the context of the business that we are today. We find it absolutely important and paramount to the speed, to the scale at which we are looking to digitalize our company. Innovating for smart packaging of the future. Now, technologies for smart packaging, such as digital identities, RFID tags, watermarks, codes, that all exists, that has existed for many, many years. The trick is how do we scale this? The trick is how do we holistically solve some of the pressing problems of our industry today? And we believe that smart packaging is incredibly attractive, has incredibly attractive proposition to solving that. It allows us to look holistically at some of the challenges in sustainability, safety, and work together to bring the right solutions. Sustainability, for example, imagine a not so distant, hopefully, future where every package has a watermark with its identification and information about the substrates, the content from which it's made, to allow automated and efficient sorting to be able to improve the rates of recycling. Now, sorting is one of the major problems that stands in the way of increasing our recycling rates today. Imagine a future where the packaging will be able to engage with us, consumers, and help us to understand the health benefits, the safety of the food we're consuming, and also guide us on how we can actually responsibly deal with the end of life of the package that we have just held in our hands. Safety. We are all, of course, users of the incredible delivery industry that has been growing in the past years. Imagine if we can have, through digital identity of packaging, evidence of the safety of our food, evidence that no one's tampered with it on the way from the kitchen to our table. And who knows, maybe even automate the proof of delivery so that that can connect with automatic payments. So the opportunities are limitless. However, this requires transformation. This requires transformation from us and from other businesses as well. We've got to think a lot more holistically across the value chain and work not only with the usual suspects that we've been working on, the past years, like our customers and suppliers, but also other companies in the value chain to bring this type of solution. So it requires even more openness. It also requires of thinking less as a product, less as a manufactured product, and more as a sort of a holistic solution that we can bring together. And so our transformation brings purpose, sustainability, digital, and innovation together on the way to becoming a first choice in sustainable packaging solutions. That's the purpose that we strongly believe in. Our way to do it is to do it in the business, with the business, and for the business. We're at the beginning of our journey, but we believe that the path is not without its challenges, but we believe that we can certainly achieve success by adopting a holistic and systematic approach.
Hey Marina, and welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Very, very interesting presentation, and what a journey you've already done and what's ahead of you. And I really liked how you went to the big cities and to the streets and really did footwork to start defining the strategy. So very thorough work and truly remarkable opportunities. We have some questions from the audience, and I would actually like to start with the first one, which is, first of all, great sustainability commitment from Huhtamaki. Can you share something on how you ensure that while the 2030 strategy is set, your organization remains open for external changes to propose adjustments to this roadmap that you have set? So how do you,
absolutely,
while navigating towards the goal, still keep eyes open?
Yeah, I think it's an excellent question, and by no means, when we say strategy 2030 or 2030 strategy, we are not saying that we've set things in stone. On the contrary, we know the trends that are out today. We're, of course, checking on the trends to see if anything changes. And we review, I would say, formally on a yearly basis where we are, but we review that much more systematically and continuously as well. So the frame is there. We know we want to be more sustainable. We know we want to be more innovative and more digital. But of course, the specifics of how we get there, that's open to a lot of the interpretation and flexibility as we go on day-to-day business. And of course, we face challenges as well. COVID came and we had to obviously do and secure our operations and production in a way that we never had to do before. So I suppose the answer is just continuously being open, continuously engaging with the organization, staying very flat with the organization to catch the reality of the world. And obviously, we will be open to change our direction if that's needed. So far, we've been lucky for the past year. I think COVID just reinforced some of our beliefs. But it's this continuous engagement.
Thank you. And then the next question was, could you share how in practice you are engaging and training the wider organization into the digital journey? You mentioned some of the things that your managers are already exposed to, but anything more concrete examples for the whole organization?
Absolutely. So of course, so first of all, it's not just myself, right? We have my wonderful colleagues in the global executive team and teams more broadly, who are essentially digital champions, who actually carry the knowledge. We have, for the digital journey, we have champions in every single business who obviously, have slightly different angles. There might be a bit more operational or more customer. We do workshops, we do engagements, obviously virtually for now, with all of our general managers and managers more broadly, to engage very concretely, to hear their pain points, to hear their sort of day-to-day challenges, and based on that, engage in a discussion of how, literally, with our, some of our digital champions, of how some of the solutions could be offered. And we're working on a number of solutions for our commercial challenges, for example, for operations, ranging from shop floor digitalization to, how we engage with the customers. But it's really sort of checking in that continuous dialogue with concretely people who are actually, at the front line of our business on a continuous basis, and being ready also to adjust and take their views into account.
Yeah, and it sounds like your organization is very active in also giving you feedback and
yes.
inputs on this, so that's always like a pro in this situation, and you don't
Absolutely.
also need to guess.
For good and for bad, yes.
Yes. Then actually a very good question. We can take one more here. What kind of challenges have you faced in the organization to adopt this digitalization agenda?
I think it's the knowledge. It's digitalization is a little bit of buzzword. I hate to use the cliches, but it is, right? It's I think what we hearing a lot from our managers is that, look, yeah, well, so what, right? And it's probably just the basic, concrete, pragmatic knowledge of how it can make my life day to day better, how it can help me achieve, some of the ambitions that we've set as an organization. I think that's probably the biggest challenge. And so we believe by engaging in just the dialogue and discussion, you can overcome this hurdle. So it's not a resistance, but it's just, okay, tell me how and I'll do it, right? So it's basic. It's just absolute basics and common sense.
Yeah, and I think it's in all organizations that being able to somehow share like the concrete next steps, so that it's more tangible for the people.
Yeah.
Well, for one more, I would actually like to ask, because it's very exciting on your products and the packages that you've now been designing and planning. Are there any like wild future visions about this smart packaging you would like to give a teaser on? Like, what could it be, the next generation of smart packaging, or anything you can give us insights on?
Oh gosh, it's sky's the limit, right? I mean, think of a classical Enjoy cup. Imagine if that can talk to you, right?
Yeah.
And in a way that actually helps your day to day. It guides you on maybe some of the concerns, whether it's, safety, sustainability, or what have you. I think that would be the ultimate future. So really fully engaged, Huhtamaki cup or Huhtamaki cup package. So let's see. We're at the beginning of the innovation. Let's see where the road takes us.
Yes, that would be fantastic. And hey, thank you so much for your truly inspiring presentation and for this Q&A session.